Thank you. And Mr. Major, are we ready to proceed on Mr. Houston's case?
Yes, Judge, we're ready.
All right, Miss representing the Bexar County CSCD is Miss Susan Gross, or I will swear at this time. Miss Gross, please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir, I do.
Representing the Bexar County Criminal District Attorney's Office are Miss Karina Sanchez and Mr. John Stan Heinrich.
Thank you, Your Honor.
In cause 359547, Mr. Houston, this is a motion to revoke community supervision. The first document I have on this case is entitled Defendant's Consent to Motion to Revoke Hearing by Video Conference that purports to have both Mr. Houston and Mr. Major's signature on it. In fact, Mr. Houston, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Major, as attorney for Mr. Houston, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. The next document I have is entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, which is marked, quote, is a revocation of the defendant's community supervision, and the defendant has a right to appeal the court's actions revoking the community supervision, but not the underlying conviction. And in fact, Mr. Houston, is this your signature on this document also, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Major, as attorney for Mr. Houston, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Major, my understanding is that this is going to be an uncontested motion to revoke community supervision. Is that correct?
That's correct, Judge.
Mr. Houston, in cause 359547 on the motion to revoke community supervision, how do you plead, sir?
No, guilty, Your Honor.
True or not true?
True or not true, Daniel?
Oh, true.
All right, so the court accepts the plea of true. Would that be correct, Mr. Major?
That's correct, Judge.
All right. Ms. Gross, would you please advise the court and the parties of the status of Mr. Houston's probation?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Houston has performed very poorly on probation in that he only reported one time. His case, however, is paid in full. We have no record of any of his 48 hours of community service having been completed. He failed to submit to drug testing on one occasion. We have no record of enrollment or completion of the DWI education program, victim impact panel, or having gone through a TAP evaluation. In addition to that, he has also left the county and the state without written permission from the court. We have no status on his ignition interlock device, which was ordered. We have not seen or heard from him since January 14th of 2014, and the officer is recommending revocation. This is his first violation report, first MTR, and he has no criminal history known here in Bexar County.
Mr. Major, what are you requesting on Mr. Houston's behalf?
Your Honor, I'm requesting that his probation be terminated unsatisfactorily, Your Honor. He's served 4 years in the U.S. Army. He's a decorated combat veteran, as well as he has recently made a donation of $1,000 to the Wounded Warrior Foundation. So, Your Honor, we're asking that his supervision be terminated unsatisfactorily.
What years did Mr. Houston participate in the United States Army?
I was in from 06 to 2011, sir.
All right, I missed some of that. You were a what now? I'm sorry.
October 2006 to June 2011.
I got. And what wars did you participate in during that time frame?
Operation Iraqi Freedom.
Aha. And what were your awards and decorations?
An AAM, ARCOM, Good Conduct Medal, and I can't remember the names of the other ones.
I got you, sir. Were you wounded?
No, sir.
Okay, well, thanks for your service, sir. State recommendation on Mr. Houston's case, please.
State's recommendation is to revoke but terminate unsatisfactorily.
What are you doing now, Mr. Houston?
I'm a subcontractor for underground utilities. Also 90% disabled through the VA.
What's wrong with you that you're disabled through the VA?
Arthritis in my back, my knee, and COPD.
And Mr. Major, I'm going to ask Mr. Houston a question. You feel free to object before he answers it, but I kind of like to understand why he didn't fully complete his probation. I mean, there's bound to have been a reason back then. Is kind of where I'm going with this.
Sure, Judge. I think,
I'd love to answer that question.
Is that okay, Mr. Major? Can you answer that question?
yes, Judge, he can.
Go ahead, Mr. Houston.
Well, Your Honor, I had a probation officer, Officer Dew, and when I got arrested, I ended up being put out of the military because of it. So I was in San Antonio homeless and had requested to be sent back to Alabama, have my probation transferred. And he told me it would take 3 to 6 months to have it transferred. And I think I stuck around for about a month and was living out of my vehicle. So I ended up just going back to where I knew.
Okay, thank you, sir. Let me do a little more reviewing of the court summary. I didn't get a chance to read it last night. Susan, what was the fine amount in this case?
$0, Your Honor.
Wow.
Unless it was one that was held in abeyance. Let me double check for you.
All right, is that correct? Or are you still looking?
I'm still double checking. It looks like his court costs and his fine were wrapped together, and his court cost came up to $802, so it was probably a $600 fine. I don't have the original capias because the case is so old, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
Gotcha. All right, Mr. Houston, in cause 359-547, the court accepts your plea of true. I grant the state's motion to revoke your probation. I sentence you to 90 days in the Bexar County Jail. Assess a $0 fine plus court costs, credit for time served, time and money to run concurrent. You're to turn yourself into the Bexar County Jail tomorrow morning at 9:00 a.m. I will warn you, if you do not turn yourself in tomorrow morning at 9:00 a.m., I have a 30-day jurisdiction on this case, and I can increase your sentence to 180 days. I'm giving you credit for having paid in full for 90 days. Do you have any questions, sir? I'm also giving you credit for your military service. Otherwise, you would have gotten 180 days.
Your Honor, he's in Alabama right now, Your Honor. That's where he resides.
Well, it's always nice to know these little things while we're doing these.
I apologize, Your Honor. I thought
Give me a second to decipher on this. So are you working right now, Mr. What the heck are you doing in Alabama?
Yes, sir. I'm from Alabama. I've been gainfully employed since I got back.
What do you do? What is your job?
I'm a subcontractor for underground utilities, bury phone lines.
State, how about if I ask Mr. Major and Mr. Houston if Mr. Houston would be willing to donate $1,000 to a court charity, which are primarily special operations wounded warrior organization or a family violence prevention organization. And I'm going to sentence him, but upon confirmation of that, I have the authority within 30 days to waive his jail sentence. Would that be equitable to the defense, Mr. Major? Do y'all want to go in a breakout room and talk about that?
No, Judge, we already talked about this and he's already paid it. I have the receipt right now. He's already paid his fine.
No, he paid his fine, but he didn't. I mean, his fine was what?
No, not the $800, Your Honor. We had discussed this case and that this was going to be your sentence, that he was going to pay the $1,000 to a wounded warrior.
Okay, yes. Perfect.
Yes, Judge, and he's made the payment already. I have the receipt.
So who's got a copy of the receipt that shows he actually paid that?
I have it right here, Judge. I can.
All right, that's all I need to know. Then we're good.
Okay.
And I apologize, everybody. I can't keep up with all this stuff. I've got 2,500 defendants either on pretrial or on probation, and it's kind of a herding cat situation for me to remember all this stuff. So thank you for reminding me.
Thank you, Judge.
State's that gonna be okay with you? I'm sure I ran it by whoever the ADA was back then before I made that agreement.
Your Honor, that's going to be A-okay with the state.
Okay. How much time does Mr. Houston have in jail, Pat?
10 days.
Perfect.
One day, Your Honor, not 10. Sorry.
One day. All right.
One day.
All right. Let's start over. Mr. Houston, in clause 359547, the court accepts your plea of true. I grant the state's motion to revoke your probation. I sentence you to 3 days in the Bear County Jail, $0 fine plus court costs, credit for time served, time and money to run concurrent, judgment satisfied. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Houston?
No, Your Honor.
Will that work better for you, Mr. Houston, than that jail thing?
Yes, sir. But I'm not gonna lie, you gave me a little heart attack.
Thanks for your service, sir. Have fun in Alabama. And Mr. Major, thanks for coordinating all that.
Thank you, Judge.
You bet.
Judge, I need to step away for 2 minutes, please.
Sure. So who else are we ready on? We ready on Mr. Zuniga?
Yes, Your Honor. But you need Susan.
I know. We'll wait for Susan.
Your Honor, may I make an announcement?
Sure.
We have Christina Martinez, Your Honor. We're asking the court for a reset on the case just because we still need to wait for the ADAs to confer with the felony ADAs to get
What
the
case are we talking about?
It's the
Christina Martinez.
last one on the list, Your Honor. It's a regular plea. I believe there was an offer made by the felony court that if he took care of this,
All right,
that
everybody stop talking, please. Are we talking about a plea or an MCR?
plea,
Okay.
last page. There's 2 pages.
And what's the defendant's name?
Christina Martinez.
Okay, it's not on my list. I got to figure this out. I don't have any documents on it. I don't have anything on it. Do I,
Yes,
Pat?
you do.
I do.
Yes, you do.
All right, let's start over. Tell me the defendant's name again, because it's not on my list.
Christina Martinez.
Christina Martinez. Case number?
I think it's 642754.
What kind of case is that?
It is a theft case, Judge.
And I'm sorry, this is a plea. This is not an MCR. Is that correct?
That's correct, Judge.
And what felony does she have pending?
POC, possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1 under 1 gram.
All right, state, I assume on most of the circumstances, when someone's got a felony pending, y'all don't like to proceed on the misdemeanor cases anyway. Is that correct?
Well, Judge, there was an agreement made with the felony court to dismiss their felony for plea on armed misdemeanor.
Ah,
Don't have that agreement yet.
okay. Can we get that figured out within a week? Does everybody think?
Yes, Judge, that would be fine.
Can we just
Yes,
reset for next Thursday? Pat, would that be the correct day?
Well,
Reset a plea for, would he next Thursday? Would that be accurate?
well, Your Honor, the thing is, if we can get it done sooner than that, then we will be in person either Monday or Tuesday. He can walk in. Wednesday, we have Zoom MTRs. I have 3 of them because I've got an out of state. And so he could also come in on that date. I wanted to ask you a favor on Thursday. So
What are we
I'm
doing
back
on
to-
Thursday?
what I'd like to do.
I don't care. Just tell me what we're doing. You're in charge. Everybody knows that.
Your Honor, can we wait? I don't know how long it'll take for them to get it. So as soon as we get it, we can set it.
All right. So you just want to leave it unsaid at this time.
Yes, and he
Right,
and I will work together with the prosecutors.
Okay with the state? We're just going to leave it unset at this time, and then the state and the defense is going to get together and then tell Pat what day they want to do it. Is that correct, Pat?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Okay, John?
That sounds okay to the state judge.
Defense okay with you?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're out of here. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. You can log off, Ms. Martinez.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Martinez.
I'm back, Judge.
All
Thank
right.
you. I
So are you
apologize.
ready to proceed on Mr. Zuniga, Mr. Engelke?
I believe so, Your Honor.
All right. This is cause, and we're on YouTube, cause 640-357 and 668-942. These are both motions to revoke community supervision. And the first document I'm looking at, one for each case, is entitled Defendant's Consent to Motion to Revoke Hearing by Video Conference. One in cause 640-357 and one in cause 668-942. Both documents allegedly signed by both the defendant and his attorney, Mr. Engelke. In fact, Mr. Zuniga, are these your signatures on both these documents, sir?
You need,
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you so much. And Mr. Engelke, as attorney for Mr. Zuniga, are these your signatures on both these documents?
I believe they are, Your Honor.
Thank you. The next document I'm looking at is entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, which in cause 640-357 is correctly marked as a revocation of the defendant's community supervision, and the defendant has the right to appeal the court's actions revoking the community supervision, but not the underlying conviction. And in cause 668-942, it needs to be corrected because I accidentally marked it incorrectly. That is a plea bargain case, and it is not. And it should be marked as a revocation of the defendant's community supervision, and the defendant has a right to appeal the court's actions revoking the community supervision, but not the underlying conviction. So Pat, if you'll ensure administratively that is corrected. Otherwise, is this your signature on both these documents also, Mr. Zuniga?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Engelke, as attorney for Mr. Zuniga, is this your signature on both these documents?
I believe it is, Your Honor.
Thank you. Starting with cause 640-357, my understanding, Mr. Engelke, is that this is going to be an uncontested motion to revoke community supervision. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And in cause 668-942, my understanding is that this is also going to be an uncontested motion to revoke community supervision. Is that also correct?
It is, Your Honor.
Mr. Zuniga, in cause 640-357, on the motion to revoke community supervision, how do you plead, sir?
He's muted.
Not guilty.
Excuse me, it's true or not true?
Oh. True.
What we're doing is you're pleading to whether the allegations contained in the motion to revoke community supervision are true or are not true.
True.
All right, thank you, sir. Ms. Gross, would you please advise the court and the parties of the status of Mr. Zuniga's probation and cause 640-357?
yes, Your Honor. Mr. Zuniga's performed poorly on probation in that he has never reported. He went to orientation, he signed his conditions stating that he understood what he was required to do on probation, and we've never heard from him again. There have been no payments made. He has a balance of $655 and is delinquent $230. We have no record of any of his 48 hours community service having been done. He does not have any drug tests on file because he never reported, and we have no proof of enrollment into the DWI education, victim impact panel, drug offender education program, or CATSNP programs. His only other criminal history here in Bexar County is going to be the other MTR, which we will be hearing after this one. His officer is recommending that he be kept in jail and he be evaluated and sent to the intensive supervision facility for as long as it takes.
Are you talking for like drug alcohol rehab or for what purpose?
Intensive supervision is
Oh, leave him on probation, but use intensive supervision?
no, send him to the facility. It's kind of like the old boot camp that we used to have.
Okay, I got it. All right, thanks. Mr. Engelke, what are you requesting, sir?
We have an agreement with the state, and I believe that agreement is to terminate him unsat.
Ms. Gross, what's the fine amount on Mr. Zuniga's case in 640357?
His original fine amount was 800 and 300 was held in abeyance.
Okay, state recommendation on Mr. Zuniga in 640357.
Revoke, Your Honor. Terminate unsat.
All right, I'm gonna withhold sentencing on this one until I hear what's going on the other one. They kind of go hand in hand, it would appear. And cause
Understand, Your Honor.
668942, Mr. Zuniga, on the motion to revoke community supervision. How do you plead, sir?
Am I supposed to say true or not true?
Well, if the allegations in the motion to revoke probation are true, then you're supposed to say true, would be my understanding.
True.
Okay, fair enough. And Ms. Gross, would you please advise the court and the parties of the status of Mr. Zuniga's probation in class 668942?
Yes, Your Honor. The only variance with what was stated prior would be in regards to fees. There's been nothing paid. He has a balance of $1,440 and is delinquent $408. And with regards to programs, he was only ordered to go to the BIP program, the batterer's intervention, and we have no proof of enrollment or completion of that. And it is the same recommendation that he remain in jail and be sent to the intensive supervision facility.
And for purposes of the record, would you kind of explain to us one more time exactly what the intensive supervision facility is? Because I don't know that I've ever heard. I remember the old boot camp, and this is supposed to be an equivalent of the old boot camp. Is that correct?
Pretty much minus the PT.
So what do they do all day at the intensive supervision facility?
They'll provide different classes with regards to drugs and alcohol and being a good citizen, etc.
We need to send Mr. Engelke and the DAs to that one.
Okay. I need some push-ups for sure.
Does Mr. Zuniga have any priors, or are these the only two cases we're dealing with?
These are the only two that we're aware of here in Bexar County, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Engelke, I want to ask Mr. Zuniga why he didn't finish his probation on these cases. I think that's kind of a keen question everybody wants to know. Is it okay with you if I ask him that question?
It is, Your Honor.
Mr. Zuniga, why didn't you successfully complete your probation on these two cases?
Your Honor, well, when I had gotten out, bonded myself out those couple of times, I didn't have any phone. I didn't have any way of communicating with the probation officers, anything like that. And I was struggling at the moment. I was couch surfing, doing all this and that, and then I was barely working. So I didn't really know how to do any of that at the time. But now I'm more settled down. I do have a stable job, and I do have a house to live in now, a stable address and everything. And, that's basically the reason why I haven't done any of the programs or anything like that.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anybody got any questions based on mine, state or defense?
No, Judge.
No, no, Your Honor.
And what was the fine amount, Susan, on 668942?
It was the same. It was 800 with 300 being probated, Judge.
Okay. So he basically went on probation for both these cases on the same day, right? 24 March 2022. Everybody agree?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Zuniga, are you working, going to school? What are you doing now when you're not in jail, I guess is the way to ask that.
I'm actually working as a landscaper. I cut all the boleros and Circle K's around San Antonio, Floresville, Elmendorf, all the little cities around here. I do everything. I've been doing it for about a year already. It's gonna go on about 2 years. I do plan on enrolling in school soon. That's all I can really give you so far.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Zuniga, on cause 640-357. Court accepts your plea of true. I grant the state's motion to revoke your probation. I sentence you to 6 months in the Bear County Jail, assess an $800 fine plus court costs, credit for time served, time and money to run concurrent. In this case, to run concurrent with 668-942, recalling all pretrial bond conditions and warrants. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Zuniga and 640-357?
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
Nothing further from the defense, Your Honor.
Cause 668-942, the court accepts your plea of true. I grant the state's motion to revoke your probation. I sentence you to 1 year in the Bear County Jail, assessed $800 fine plus court costs, credit for time served, time and money to run concurrent. In this case, to run concurrent with 640-357, recalling all pretrial bond conditions and warrants. Just for Mr. Zuniga's edification, I had the authority to stack you, meaning add 6 months and a year on top of each other, but I didn't do that because you gave me some good answers on some of my questions. Last time I heard the jail was given 3 for 1. I have no idea what that quotient is. That's up to the sheriff. So we wish you well, sir. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Zuniga?
Nothing from the defense, Your Honor.
Nothing further from the state, Judge.
All right. Good luck, Mr. Zuniga. Thank you, Mr. Engelke. Y'all are dismissed.
Thank you, Judge.
I have a question, Your Honor.
Mr. Engelke, sure. If it's okay with Mr. Your attorney, I'm happy to hear it.
It's okay, Judge.
So does that mean I have to do a full year and I cannot bond myself out or anything?
This is my understanding. You have been sentenced to a year in jail and you've been sentenced to 6 months in jail, 1 on each case for 2 separate cases. I had the authority to stack you. I could have made it 18 months. You do the full year, then you have to do another 6 months. I didn't do that. I ran them concurrent. So right now you're sentenced to a year in jail. My understanding, and Mr. Engelke has far more knowledge of this than me, is whatever the sheriff determines the quotient is, they're trying to minimize jail populations these days due to COVID and whatnot. My guess is you're going to get 3 for 1 credit. So my guess is you're going to do 4 months, but that's merely a guess on my part. So that would be getting 3 for 1 credit. Mr. Engelke can contact the sheriff, and I don't know how that goes, but my bailiff never really, it changes from time to time, but my guess is right now you're going to get the best deal going because COVID has come back.
Okay.
Mr. Engelke, he has credit for 32 days already.
He gets that credit, absolutely, sure. So that might mean 90 days. You may get credit 3 for 1 for that. Oh no, he's just ready to walk out the door. I better resend him to something more. Good luck, Mr. Zuniga.
All right,
Thank you, Mr. Engelke.
Well, thank you, Judge.
You have paperwork, Your Honor. We've got for Mr. Castillo and Mr. Richardson.
Okay. Let me go off camera and get my paperwork done.
Yeah, we should be ready.